Hello, Assalamualaikum. My name is Shafika binti Ali. I'm a matrix number 056903 and I am from band 7B. In this video, I will be presenting an analysis of Islamophobia in the poem Islamophobia by Shahid Imran. To begin with, in recent years, the term Islamophobia has shifted from being a predominantly political concept to one that is increasingly being used for analytical reasons. In the late 1990s, political activists used the term Islamophobia to call attention to speech and acts aimed towards Islam and Muslims in Western liberal democracies. Islamophobia is known as anti-Muslim racism as it includes both intentional and deliberate discrimination against followers of the faith and hatred of it, a fear, wrath, or prejudice against Islam and Muslims that results in a pattern of discrimination and persecution. The setting is in India. Therefore, in recent years, India has been cited as one of the most Islamophobic countries in the world. Thus, with each passing years, Islamophobia in India becomes more prevalent and normalized. One must first understand the origins and current manifestation of a form of contemporary resurgent majoritarian Hindu nationalism, also known as Hindutva, in order to understand how and why the figure of the Muslim and the religion of Islam are viewed as a threat to the nation in a country with nearly 80% Hindus. Islamophobia in India encourages violence, subjugation, and intimidation of Muslims as a threat to the country. India's population is made up of 80% Hindus and 20% other ethnic groups, with Muslims facing the dilemma of Islamophobia and hate crimes. The first analysis of the poem is the issue of Islamophobia that happened in India. The issue is hate crimes against Muslims. India is the world's second largest country with a diverse community based on culture, language, and religion. India claims to be the world's most diversified ethno-religious state, with many religiously divided communities including Muslims, Buddhists, and Christians. Muslims, as a result of Islamophobia, which is not a new phenomenon in India, have a long history of dominance and control over assets, which produced hatred among the people of the subcontinent following partition in 1947, and this has led to hate crime against the Muslim minority in India. Muslims are discriminated against in India due to their monotheistic belief system. Muslims encounter societal rejection and neglect in all walks of life, and the vast majority of them lack basic human rights and freedoms. Hate crimes are defined as any of a variety of crimes such as assault or property damage when committed out of animosity toward the victim as a group based on religion, caste, race, language, identity, or gender. In India, Muslims are fighting for their fundamental human rights. Since the creation of Pakistan and India, there has been an ongoing wave of animosity between Muslims and Hindus. Following the 9/11 attacks in New York, which resulted in the defamation of Muslims as terrorists in a global scale, hatred towards Muslims grew. Similarly, Muslims in India face the issue of being characterized as violent and terrorists, with every act of terrorism being linked to them. This issue of hate crimes against Muslims is addressed in Shahid's poem Islamophobia in stanza 3, where he emphasized the lines, "This is nothing but your emotion of hate and war against humanism," and keeps repeating, "Mine is labeled for terrorism." A challenge that a Muslim in India has encountered is a discrimination against Muslim community. Given the gravity of the situation, the Indian government formed a committee to investigate the social, economic, and educational position of Muslims in India. There are two types of discrimination against the Muslims community in India, which are educational discrimination and also economic discrimination. Muslims are disadvantaged in terms of school infrastructure supply because they are not given basic amenities that meet their demands. The provision of educational facilities for the Muslim population has remained lower than for all the other communities since the subcontinent's partition. Prejudice against the Muslim minority is at its highest level, and those who engage in it are powerful in both politics and religion. In other words, anti-Muslim organizations and some political parties with a religion bent like the BJP support prejudice. However, other ethnic groups such as the Jains, Sikhs, and Parsis are prosperous. As can be seen in stanza 4, the poet appears to be indicating that non-Muslims want Muslims to be afraid of the reality in India, where hate crimes occur. The excerpt shows how Muslims should be afraid to leave their houses, barricade their doors, and hiding their children. Muslims must be afraid, they must be losing hope and humanity. This line from Shahid Imran's poem, Islamophobia, illustrates how Muslims in India are treated differently when it comes to their freedom to live in the country. One solution for Islamophobia in India is social media as the source of positivity. Social media is useful in preventing Islamophobia by raising awareness. Therefore, social media is incredibly important in efforts to influence the way that Islamophobia is portrayed in the media. All walks of life, regardless of who we are, have an impact of the community and are part of a network that tries to develop a more inclusive community in order to combat Islamophobia. As media has a positive impact on society, it allows people to learn more quickly. Foreign news, for example, is distinct even within the country, although information is rapidly disseminated through the media. As a result, people will be more aware of current situations. This is because we can only see through our glasses when there is two-way contact between a community and a society. Furthermore, through exchanging ideas and perspective, people can be inspired to strive for better things. In addition, media has a significant impact on cognitive effects such as the formation of attitudes, which are events that occur in contexts involving economics, politics, religion, peace, or current events. One tactic to counteract Islamophobia, which is largely predicated on the notion of the Muslims constitute a threat to European culture, values, and way of life, is to use social media to highlight the different regular roles Muslims occupy in society. If we are to comprehend the scope and character of the epidemic, we must successfully dismantle and challenge the narrative and dubious logic used in Islamophobic attacks. To sum up, the poem Islamophobia by Shahid Imran, it illustrates the hatred he encountered as a Muslim living in India. The poem gives a few concrete examples of how India's view on Islam are to blame for the rise in terrorism following the events that happened, which is the main cause of Islamophobia in that country. In a few stanzas, the main discrimination that Muslims in India experience are discussed. With that, the analysis of the poem has ended. Thank you for watching.